Welcome, everybody. I don't do live sessions very often, but I'm excited to be live with you guys. I have a few things that I want to chat with you about. And then if you guys have questions, come on in with your questions and we'll talk about it. So the first thing I want to ask you guys, hopefully I can get questions on here. Hopefully they'll show up. The first thing I want to tell you is I am planning on interviewing Luca Capito in a couple of weeks. And I'm really excited about that. So if you have any questions that you'd like me to ask him, let me know, and I may use them. It's kind of funny. I used to make fun of Skip Shot magazine. I don't know if you guys remember Skip Shot magazine from U.S. Water Polo. And they used to ask Olympians questions, but they were never water polo questions. It was always like, what's in your bag? Or what do you drink on a Tuesday? And as a young kid, it was so frustrating to me because I just wanted to learn from them. I wanted an actual question. How do you, how do you keep your hips up when someone's trying to grab your suit? Like, what's a trick you can use? Just something I could use, But it was always like, your favorite chewing gum flavor. So that's not what I'm going to be asking him. I'm going to be asking him actual water polo questions. I want to ask him about that play against Hungary where he passes it down to the wing and then gets inside water on his man. I think he got inside water just to hold his man back so that he couldn't drop. I'm going to ask him about that. So if you have any questions that you want me to ask him, let me know. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about, this is for parents, all right? So now I see a lot of parents at the games, and they get really frustrated with some of the calls, and some of the calls are bad, all right? But some of the calls are correct, and the parents are getting frustrated, and they shouldn't, all right? So I'm going to deal with one of those calls that's good that you shouldn't get frustrated about, and this is good for players too. This has to do with a situation where a guy is up, the defender's on his back, and he has the ball, okay? Now, as we know, the new rules are if the defender hits him anywhere, right, when he has the ball, arm, shoulder, whatever, grabbing him, that's going to be a 5-meter penalty shot. However, if there is a defender in front, they will not give this man the 5-meter penalty shot. So the parents will see this play in isolation. They'll say, oh, this is a penalty shot. But they won't recognize the defender in front. And sometimes the defender's even on the side. And the referee, that's his discretion, right? So the people from the stands will be yelling, what the heck, he's mauling him. But there's a defender in front, so they're not going to make that call. So you got to understand that. So don't yell at the referee. It's not his fault. Those are the rules, right? Good thing to understand. You'll notice, too, in the Olympics, the 2-meter rule has changed, right? So it used to be there's a 2-meter line, and you couldn't go inside the 2-meter line unless you had the ball, and it went all the way across. Now it's a 2-meter box. So the rules apply for this box. But if you're outside the box, you can go in, even if you don't have the ball. And you can stay in after you pass the ball. So you'll see players doing that. That messed with my head early on. I thought, what are they? They're not making that call. So you'll notice that too. All right. Now, let's talk about field blocks. All right. When I was playing, I'm going to be really honest with you. This was a field block. My water level was here. I had my arm up. I felt like I was doing a good job. What I noticed from the Olympics this time, and maybe I should have noticed it earlier, but I'm just going to be honest with you. The guys were getting out like to here to field block. And it was interesting because I'm like, wow, that's incredible, because now you're not just using your arm to field block, you're using your entire body. So you've got this. When I was playing, we used to be able to put 2 hands up, right? We couldn't do it even like a goalie. we had to stagger it. So we'd have this down for the skip shot low, and we'd have this up, matching hand to ball, right? But now you're not allowed to do that, right? So we were just here. But like if you watch Max Irving play, young players, watch him field block, right? He'll get up so big that he's using his whole body and arm to field block. It's much, much better. So I encourage the young players to practice getting up. And look, you're not going to get up to Max Irving overnight, so don't think that. Just start here and go up a little bit, then a little bit, then a little bit, and then a little bit, and keep pushing it. Okay? I got somebody on the doorbell. We're going to leave it. I don't know who that is. So get up big on your field blocks and watch the players, right? That's what I'm talking about. You got to watch the Olympics, right? So you can learn from these guys and then implement those things in your game, right? Like on my last game break, I showed Max Irving on a great release move, okay? And you watched him book hard and get his defensive player going hard to the goal. Right, so he was out here. He was out here, right? His defender was here. The goal was here. Max was booking this way and getting his defender booking this way. So that when he pulled back, he had nice separation between him and his defender, right? And I see this all the time. Young players, they release just by backing up. Hold on one second. Guys, the kids aren't here right now. I'm sorry. It's all right. And we'll play later, okay? Okay, we're gonna be outside. We were just gonna ask if they would like to play. We would like to play, but when they come back later, okay? Thank you, guys. Where are they? They're at a park. Oh. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. Sorry about that. Neighbor kids wanted to come over and play. Okay, so I'll see young kids, when they want to release, they just back up. Okay, there's a couple problems with that. Let's say I'm out here where Max Irving was, the defender's here, and let's say the ball was over here, okay? If I just back up, okay, the defender's momentum, he's pushing on me this way, right? So I back up, and he comes right along with me. So I create no separation, and now I got to struggle to move the ball, and that's how the ball sticks, okay? The other problem is, notice, I back up, now I get the ball way out here, okay? Now I'm further away from 2 meters. It's a longer set pass. I'm pushed out. That's not good either. So going in does two things. If I go in and then come back out, look, I'm in the same place I started from. So I'm not further away, and I get my defender's momentum going against this way, so when I pull back, I create separation, right? So if you watch that game break, you'll see Irving do that. That's the game break I have on for Hungary. You'll see Max Irving do that, and you'll see how the intensity with which he does it. Focus in on that, okay? Because when you go into your release move, you got to go hard, really hard, all right? Coaches, I got a takeaway for coaches, and I learn from great coaches all the time. So I'm watching them, and I like watching Krikorian, the women's Olympic coach, the head coach. And one of the reasons I like Krikorian, and I watched him do a practice one time. U.S. Water Polo was having an event, and the girls' team was practicing, and he was coaching them. And I was struck by how quiet he was. He would just come over to the girls, and he'd be like, okay, we're going to do this. And then the girls would go do it. Now, I know that's not realistic for youth coaches to be that quiet, okay? I don't put that expectation on youth coaches. However, there is a power in being quiet. Okay. And I was thinking, okay, when I coach, can I be effective without yelling? That was what my takeaway from Krikorian was. And I noticed when he was coaching in the Olympics, I noticed the same thing, right? I noticed his calm demeanor. And I think his calm, quiet demeanor gives the girls a poise, right? I mean, the team takes the cues from the coach. So I think the more calm, collected, cool the coach is, the more calm, collected, cool the girls are. So I took that away from Krikorian, so just wanted to pass that along to you guys. All right. Questions. Hit me up. What do we got? How do I do questions on here? Someone at, oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. Best coach I had, this is from Edward M. Best coach I had would always speak softly. And if anyone said they couldn't hear, they would say, well, that's a problem. You should get closer. I love that. I love that. Look, if the coach has the respect of the team, which Edward, it sounds like that coach did, he shouldn't have to yell, right? You know that coach is in your corner. You bring him in and you talk, just like I'm talking to you guys right now. I totally agree with that. The yelling and screaming is unnecessary in those. Now, are there times where you need to put your foot down? Yes, but I'm talking about on the whole. So I love that. Yeah. So you would be in the Krikorian camp, like me. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Our first comment, that helps. Anybody else have a comment? Let's go. Throw some out. What do you want to ask Cupido? Tony, if you watch the Olympics, Azevedo would constantly praise Luca Cupido. Why? Do you guys remember? Anybody remember? Was anybody watching? Because he was feeding the ball into set really well. He would talk about the Cupido to Halleck connection that they had. And when I chatted with Cupido just recently, I mentioned that to him. I mentioned the lost art of setting the ball into 2 meters. And people don't practice that, and people aren't as good at it as they should be. It's an art form, and it's just as important. It may be even more important than the 2-meter shot, because if you don't get the ball, you can't shoot it. And if you don't get the ball in the right spot, you're not going to get the ejection or the chance to shoot it. All right, so I got HB Showtime. Hello, how do you get up so high on those field blocks? Is it just legs, or is there a special egg beater you have to do to get up high for a longer time? Great question. There's no special egg beater. If you were to try to throw in a breaststroke kick while you were field blocking, that would be a huge mistake, because if you notice, and when you field block, you want to be static, okay? You don't want to be up and down. So you want to hold your level. In fact, we have a video on holding levels. You should watch that, holding your egg beater level. So that's what you need to do. You need to be able to hold your egg beater level, because the goalie doesn't want you up and then down and up and then down. The shooter will time it. Down, boom. The goalie needs to count on you to block a section of the goal to funnel the ball into him. That's what you're doing as a field blocker. Funneling the ball into the goalie, right? So the goalie doesn't want you up and down, up and down. He wants you funneling the ball. That's what Weinberg wants. So how do you do that? Okay, I'm going to tell you exactly. Watch the video. Okay, that will help you. But I'm going to tell you here too. Like I said early on, you can't do it all at once. Don't expect you're going to get in the pool and throw out a Max Irving and get out to here. It's not going to happen. Okay? You have to do little by little. So you take a half inch at a time. Okay? So if your field block level is right here right now, okay? The next practice, I want you to take it to here. That's it. Okay? And then I want you to build. Take it up to here. Okay? And then next week, I want it 1/2 inch higher. You can usually, when you're up, you can usually with your mind get up 1/2 inch higher, or even an inch higher if you just think about it. So you get here in your field block, think about this and go, okay, I need to get up 1 inch higher and hold. Up and hold. You can do it. Now, it'll be hard at first, but your body will adjust. And then that 1 inch higher will be your baseline. Okay? And then the next time, you'll get there right away. And then think, okay, 1/2 inch higher. Boom. And then hold that. And then that will be your baseline. And then on and on you go. That's how you do it. That's the only way to do it. Now, are you going to be able to get out as high as Max Irving? Only God knows. But that's how you build your strength on that. Great question. Climb over your hips with your legs facing the shooter and head facing center. Most important thing is shot blocking near side rather than being high up. Okay? Like I said, funnel the ball into the goalie. If they're on the outside, if they're on the goalposts, right, then you are going to cover that near side goalpost. Absolutely. Does set ever work when receiving the ball where the defender is right behind you? Games I saw showed set always trying to get on ball side, left or right. Yeah, ideally, you never want to set straight on. If 9 times out of 10, if a ball gets blocked by the center defender, when you shoot it, it's because you set straight on, right? So let's think about it. Good question, Richard. Let's say you're here in 2 meters, okay, and you're set straight on. You haven't held aside, so you're going to step out to shoot because we're trained to pass the ball through the defender's head, through the offensive player's head, arms distance out. So you're going to step out to the ball here, and then you're going to shoot it here, right through the defender, right? As opposed to, ideally, holding aside. So then the ball comes in here. Now you step out here, and you're throwing and shooting around the defender. That's what we want. So you want to hold aside, right? We tell our 2-meter players, drive into 2 meters, get a side, preferably the side that the ball is on, so you don't have to reverse it. 2 hands on, turn and seal, and hold that side. Great question. So while I'm waiting for the next question, let's talk some more of my takeaways of the Olympics. And again, young players, high school players, college players, if you're not watching the Olympics, you kind of don't care about your game. If you want to improve, it's right there in front of you. You got to watch it. You got to learn. You got to ask questions. Oh, you're welcome, Richard. Okay, so then here's a couple mistakes I saw that were surprising. The Americans, I think it was against Italy, they made a subbing mistake. They didn't high five in the subbing box, so they got a double ejection, and that's what led to the 3-on-1. I think it was Italy early on. That just can't happen. If I was coaching 12-year-olds and they didn't do that, I'd be really upset with them. You know you have to come in. If you're doing a sub on the fly, right, meaning in the game, which they do all the time, you know you have to, the guy coming out has to come in the box, high five above the water, and then the guy can go in. Okay? He's got to do it. You know that. So can't believe they made that mistake. Then the Hungarians, I couldn't believe this. The Hungarians were on defense, okay? And one of their guys gets ejected. So I think, let's say it was this guy, this X guy gets ejected, okay? So he slowly saunters out of the pool this way. Well, I think there was a turnover, or the Americans shot or something, or the Hungarians got the ball back earlier than this guy would have expected. And they were doing a sub in the box. So meaning they had a new guy in here. They're going to sub this guy that got ejected out, and they're going to bring the new guy in. Well, the new guy, so this guy took so long, he's just slowly swimming over here. He didn't make it over to the box in time before the turnover. And, they're waving him in. It's time to go in. And this guy just went in. You can't go in. You have to wait till the guy gets into the box. So then this guy gets ejected. That's 2 ejections on one play, and then the Americans end up scoring. So that can't happen. That can't happen. I know they feel bad about it, but you cannot just hand, especially in the Olympics, but even 12 and under, you can't just hand a team a goal like that. You gotta know when you get ejected, get to that box, right? This is not time to lollygag. Get to the box. All right, Edward, what is your favorite way to consistently get the set D off of the center, off a restart? Favorite way to consistently get the set D off the center, off a restart. What's a restart? Can you tell me what a restart is, Edward? I'm not understanding it. Set D off the center, off a restart. Yeah, let me know what a restart is, and then I'll answer that question. But in the meantime, I'll move on to my next. My next takeaway from the Olympics was I didn't find the 6-meter rule to be a factor. I don't like the 6-meter rule where you can just shoot it from the outside. I don't like the get it live yourself rule. I don't like any of those new rules. I'm just an old guy. The only new rule that I liked over the last 10, 15 years was the 2-point shot outside 7. I love that rule. I thought it was great. And they got rid of it. That's the only rule I like. All the new rules I don't like. But the 6-meter rule is pretty much a non-factor because everybody's ready for it. The perimeter guys are keyed in on it, so they're not giving that obvious foul. So it's really hard to draw that foul. If they do draw that foul, they're field blocking, the goalie's ready. So an occasional last second shot when the shot clock is down, yeah, and maybe you can get a reset, but it's not a factor like I think they thought it would be. It's just there, and it's kind of confusing, I think, to the spectators. But that was my takeaway on the 6-meter rule. It was kind of a non-factor in this Olympics. Okay, so he asked me after goal play, after getting scored on, favorite consistency at the set D off of the center. Okay, so on the lineup. So you want set D off of the center on the lineup. Okay, why are they on you? I mean, how are they going to get? They're going to be guarding you, so they're going to be on you. What I tell my 2-meter players off the lineup is go get the position you want. So I don't know if this answers your question. Well, I'll give it a shot, and you let me know if I'm answering your question. This is what I tell my players. So let's just take 2 meters. Here's the half tank, and here's the center going to go down. Let's ignore the rest of the players for now. And then you have your center defender. Now, I tell my center defenders to meet them right about 5 meters, 5 to 6 meters, okay? And if the offensive player wants to set there, that's pretty far out, so that's good for us. And if they want to pass you, that's fine, then you start with your front, okay? So flip that around. Now, what do I tell my offensive players? I don't say set here where the guy wants you to. Okay, I like to go down to your spot. Okay, get the position you want. So let's say you go down all the way down here where you want. Okay, and now the guy's fronting you because you had to pass him. Now you work for a side. So now you got to either get up here, work for a side, and get up here or work for a side. I like to take 2 hands on them, right? Hold them and hold my side for as long as possible. This prevents them grabbing my suit, any shenanigans they want to do, punching me in the kidneys or whatever, right? They can't do that if I'm holding them like this and I got my hips up. Then when the ball gets worked around, so let's say I'm holding this side with my 2 hands on. As soon as the ball gets worked around, right, then I'm going to take my shoulder, jam it into their opposite armpit, and turn and seal, and get my hips up, ready to step out and back them down. So let me know if that answers your question. All right. Can't wait to watch. Oh, cool. All right, Jack. Awesome. What are some tips that you have for a new water polo player? I'm going into high school. I've been practicing egg beater and shooting, and I know how to swim well. That's good. Okay, so you're brand new. Make sure your egg beater is solid. Watch a couple of our egg beater videos. Make sure you're doing it correctly. If you're doing it correctly, you should be able to have 2 arms out, elbows out, and hold that for 10 seconds fairly easily if you're doing egg beater correctly. If you can't do that, there may be something amiss with your egg beater. If you're a swimmer, your egg beater is probably pretty good because I'm assuming you were taught breaststroke correctly. But occasionally I get a swimmer that struggles with it. So make sure your egg beater is strong, because if you're practicing the wrong egg beater, you're going to go backwards and you're never going to be the player you're supposed to be. All right. So watch a couple of our egg beater videos. Make sure you're doing your egg beater correctly. That'd be my first thing. My next tip for starting players, I would watch our passing series where there's like 4 videos. It's like how to catch the ball, and then we have wrist isolations, over the top isolations, coming through with the shoulder, hip positioning for the passing. I would watch those 4 passing, how to pass the ball, how to pass and shoot correctly videos, I think is what they're called. If you can't find them, just message me and I'll send them to you. We actually have a playlist for new players. So everything that I think is good for a new beginning player, I put on that playlist. So you can check that out too. And then you can message me on the video if you don't understand something or if you have questions. All right. Hey, big fan from Sri Lanka. We love. Okay. One of the things I'm kind of blown away at is only half of our videos, like 50 to 55%, is people from the United States. Like 40 to 50% is people watching from around the world. And I'm blown away by that, and I love it, and it makes me happy. So, big fan from Sri Lanka. Thank you. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. I love it. Awesome channels helped me tremendously with the water polo team. I took over coaching last year. Cool, Jack. I was considering, a coach asked me for like lesson plans and stuff, and I haven't put one up yet because I need to do it in the water. I tried to do it just talking. It didn't work. Would that be something you'd be interested in? I don't want to put some stuff up for, if coaches don't really care, that's fine. But if you think you'd be interested in that, then that helps me a little bit understand. Maybe there are a few coaches out there that just kind of want basic lesson plans or ideas for drills that you can do with kids. So Jack, let me know if that'd be something you would kind of want to watch, and then maybe I'll try to throw some stuff up there. And then we can bounce ideas off each other, which I love. Like I have a lot of coaches that watch, and they'll give me ideas through messaging that I love. So we need to learn from each other, is what I think. Hey, what are your thoughts about the new Olympic controversy brutality calls? Is VR should be valid in water polo? Well, okay, so I need to watch. There was a Hungarian brutality call. I need to take a look at that. So I'm not going to comment on that one. I need to look at that controversy so I can speak with authority on it. The one I can speak to is the Johnny Hooper one. Okay, it's 2024. That VR replay clip is blurry as heck. That's the best we can do. It's embarrassing. It's like when high school water polo teams, we used to go and play, and they would play in a shallow pool. I mean, you would never do this. A football team would never go to an opposing team's field, and it's like a 60-yard field. That would never happen, right? But polo teams can go play in like a 5-foot shallow pool with a goal that's like 10 feet tall because the goalie's standing on the bottom. It's a complete joke of a game, but we can do that water polo. So basketball replay has 4 different angles, crisp as clear, super slow-mo, right? They have the little thing where they draw the little picture of the guy doing the thing, and water polo has a circle and a blurry pixelated thing with 1 angle. That's what we get. So I feel like we're getting dumped on in that way. Come on. I mean, I know, okay, water polo is not as big as basketball and football, but give us some respect, people. Okay, give us a second angle. Give us a camera with some high definition to it so we can see what's going on. We need an underwater camera showing it too. Because so the Hooper thing, as I talked in the video we did on it, it looked to me like the guy grabbed his head, took it down underwater, and was sucker punching Hooper underwater. Now, I can't prove any of that because it's so blurry. That's what it looks like to me, though. The reason I think that is because no water polo player for Hooper would take his head and put it underwater right next to a defensive player. Nobody would do that because they tell you, keep your head up so you don't get punched, elbowed, kneed in the face. So Hooper would never do that on his own. So he had to be grabbed. I know he got grabbed. I just don't know if the guy was sucker punching him underwater. He was holding his face, so either he was faking or he got punched underwater. Now, if somebody's holding your head underwater, I think you have free reign to do whatever the heck you want to do to make him let go. Kick him, punch him, spaz out, whatever. You've got to breathe. You have a right to breathe. That's my controversial take on this. You have a right to breathe. Okay? I would tell my players the same thing. I'm not a dirty coach. But if somebody's holding you underwater, you do whatever it takes to get them off of you. So Hooper's doing that, and then he gets a brutality. I don't think it should have been a brutality. I think they both should have been ejected. Because Hooper, I don't even think he did a closed fist. He just kind of like palmed him off. And if you want to give Hooper a brutality, you got to give the other guy a brutality. But you need the angles to see it. And we didn't have enough angles to see everything. So that's my take on the VR. As a center player, this is from Hagen. As a center player, I often commit offensive fouls. As I try to create space when the ball is coming in, I push them back with my back. The pros never get offensive fouls for those things. Why is that? Well, okay, a couple things. The pros do occasionally get an offensive foul. That is part of the deal. So you are going to get some offensive fouls. You shouldn't be getting a lot. Okay, that's where we'll draw the line. So if you get 1 or 2 a game, I think that's acceptable for being an aggressive 2-meter player, center player. Okay, so you say that you're not throwing your head back, correct? That's what you said, because if you're throwing your head back, that's going to be an offensive foul. So when you practice driving back in practice, you make sure you practice driving with your shoulders, like you said, and then tucking the chin a little bit so that you don't throw that head back. But it sounds like you're not throwing your head back. But if for some reason you're not tucking your chin a little bit in practice and driving those shoulders back, just make sure you do that. I just mentioned it for the other people too. I would need to push them back with my back, the pros. I would need to see the video of you doing it to really assess what's going on. If you're not throwing your head back and you're driving them back with your shoulders, if you're not anything above the water is going to be an offensive foul. So if you're reaching back with your arm and grabbing their arm above the water, that's going to be an offensive foul. Obviously, throwing the head back is going to be an offensive foul. If you're leaning back, that opens you up to an offensive foul. Everything so make sure, I'll say this, maybe this will help. When I tell my 2-meter guys, get your arms right under their arms, right? So that you're not, and if you're doing the thing where you're coming back, right? Then you're just doing it nice and gentle. You see the guys do it nice and gentle. They're not throwing their elbow back. They're doing gentle, and then when they get ready to get the ball, their arms go under the defense's arms, right, to seal. So let me know if that helps, or if there's another, more to it you want to give me, and I can help you a little bit more. Let me know if that helps. Any advice for wearing contact lenses? I get this a lot, contact lenses. I didn't wear contacts when I played, but I had college teammates that did. Shout to Quang Liba, Q. And he told me that he would just splash. So he put his contacts in and splash tons of water on his face and eyes and get a really tight seal with the contacts. And he says 9 times out of 10, that would work. Occasionally, a contact would pop out during the game and you'd have no depth perception or whatever, and you'd have to get through it. But he said most of the time they would stay in. So I would try that. Pop them in, splash water on your face, get a really tight seal with the contacts, jump in and play the game and see if that works. That's my best advice on that one. I'm a junior in high school who is consistently slower than the varsity level swimmers in the pool. This is from DKC. I'm working on getting my speed up. For now, do you have any tips for being smarter about transitions? I do. You can be faster than your swim speed if you're smarter. So what I mean by that is you have to anticipate instead of react. Okay, let me break that down. My first coach, Craig Schwartz, used to always talk about this. Anticipate, Don't react. Let's say you're on offense, okay? And this guy has the ball over here. You're this guy right here, right? And I'm going to make it really simple. Set is fronted, okay? But this guy thinks he can squeeze the ball in the set somehow. So he steps out or whatever, and he starts to throw the ball in like this because he thinks he can get it in there. Now, a smart player will read that play, and when the ball leaves his hand, you know it's a steal. There's certain things where you just know. Or it's like a 50-50, right? Or 80-20. 80% of the time, that's going to be a steal. Like you can see the future. That's anticipate, right? If the ball's coming here, I know this defender is probably going to steal the ball, right? So do I wait till he steals the ball and then get back on defense? No. As soon as that ball leaves his hand and I know it's a steal, I'm gone. Right? That's how you make yourself faster. Because now, 1,000, 2, 1,000, you've just gained 2 seconds of swimming speed just by anticipating and not reacting. Right? What the novice player will do is the ball will go here, the defender will steal it, he'll go underwater, bob up, and then get back on defense. Wasting like 3 seconds. So you need to work on your swimming speed for sure, but you can make yourself faster by anticipating the plays instead of reacting to the plays. All right, epic clips. Sir, okay, ooh, sir, I like that. If the ball is inside the 2-meter box when the exclusion or foul happens, if they played the ball inside the 2 meters itself, will it be a turnover or will the referee give a chance to start out at 2 meters? Okay, let me get a handle on this. I like the sir still. All right. If the ball is inside the 2-meter box when the exclusion or the foul happens, if they played the ball inside the 2 meters, will it be a turnover or the referee? Oh, that's the referee's discretion. I think they would let you just come out. So what he's saying is there's an exclusion and the ball gets pushed inside 2 meters. So it's inside 2 meters. So you have to take that foul, the free throw, outside 2 meters, right, to start your power play, right? And if you went in and just passed it, the question is, will they call a turnover or will they bring it back and let you take it out? That's going to be the referee's discretion. My suspicion is most of them would let you redo it and blow the whistle. No, you need to take it out. They should be calling that when you're going to the ball anyway. So when you go to the ball inside 2 meters, they should be blowing the whistle and telling you to come out. But how about just skip the middleman and know that you can't take that foul inside 2 meters. Just pull it out and take the foul. If you notice when the Olympians, they're very careful on that first pass out on the power play because that's the most dangerous pass. So, Ben Halleck is usually the one doing that pass because he usually got the exclusion. So you'll see him very slowly get the ball, look, and very slowly make that pass out. They're not quick to make that pass out because when you make that first pass out quick, that's when you make mistakes. Take your time on that first pass out. The last thing you want to do is get a steal on the first pass of your power play. Really drive your coach nuts. Border X. Okay, so we're gonna do another minute or two, and then I'm gonna do this again because this is working. This is working really well. But I don't want to get it to be too long because then no one will watch it. Okay. Can you name 1 to 3 skills or techniques that are a priority to learn for young 11 to 12-year-olds? My son has been playing for about 1.5 years and loves it. Okay. We talked about he needs to watch the Luca Capito interview that I do because we're going to talk about setting the ball in 2 meters, the 2-meter pass. If your son wants to make yourself, and it's all about playing time, right? Nobody wants to sit on the bench, okay? If you want to make yourself invaluable to your team, you've got to become a great set passer. You've got to understand how to set the ball into 2 meters. You've got to understand that every player likes it in a different place, a different spot. Some people have longer arms. Some people have shorter arms, right? If they're going to go do a backhand, they want it in closer. If they're going to do a sweep, they want it a little further away. Everybody wants it a little different. You got to understand your teammates' tendencies. You got to put the ball exactly where they need it every time. So you got to get good at 2-meter set passes. That's what I would suggest for your young 11 to 12-year-old. in order to set the ball, there's a couple things he has to do. He needs to be able to pressure pass, and that's a lot. So if his coach is not teaching him how to pressure pass, watch our videos on pressure passing, and then we have some tips on pressure passing, and then watch those, and then message me if you have questions. But the big thing is to go up and in and step out. That's what we talk about. So if his coach is not teaching him that, okay, watch those and then get back to me. So set passes, pressure passing, because you got to be able to, on offense, you got to be able to move the ball right quickly and be able to pass it where you want to go with it, right? You can't allow the defense to just make you sit on the ball for seconds and seconds. And then the last thing is defense, defense, defense. I'm starting to do some stuff on crab, hips up defense, and moving on laterally. I just did a couple, but I have more to do. So I would watch those, practice your hips up defense and being able to move laterally with your hips up. So hips up D, set passes, pressure passing. Those would be my 3. Thanks. So I never hit the defender, but maybe I'm moving my head too much. I'll pay attention to that. Yeah. So if you do back down, so Hagen, this is for Hagen. He's getting offensive fouls in 2 meters. If you do back down drills in practice, just drive your shoulders back and just tuck your chin slightly. That will avoid this action, right? And then when you step out, throw the shoulder and step out. When you step out, so let's say you're right-handed, which I'm assuming you are. You shoot, so you're back, okay? You throw the shoulder, then shoot the right hip out. That will ensure your head doesn't throw back at all. So tuck a little bit, throw the shoulder, shoot with the right hip. Let me know if you get less offensive fouls doing that. That would be huge, because I know that's annoying. All right. Oh, and then Richard has an answer for Hagen. It says the referee will usually indicate with an arm gesture why the foul is called. Yes, they will. And I would also, if you're confused, if they'll let you during halftime or after the game, just ask them. Just say, be polite. Excuse me, sir. You made an offensive call against me in the second quarter. If you remember why, I would love to know why so I can work on that. Just be really polite. I think most referees would be happy to do that. All right, guys, we're hitting on 42 minutes. This was awesome. This blew by. This was way better than I even thought it was going to be. So I'm going to do this again. I will just shoot a little post and let you know when we're going to do it, and I'll answer questions. Look out for that Luca Capito interview. I'm so excited about that. And message me with any questions that you want me to ask him. So take care, and we'll see you soon from Shaquatics Water Polo. Bye, guys. How do I stop this now without deleting the whole thing? Help me out. Do I hit the X? It's going to sound really bad at the end. I don't know what to do. All right.